Hello, I am Jana Mataria. I am 15 years old, entering the 11th grade in the American School of Palestine. And today I will be talking about how Palestinians use art to challenge oppressive systems and preserve cultural identity. So my question is, how is art part of the Palestinian resistance? But first, the presenter's promise. I am not an expert, but I promise that I tried to learn as much as I could to satisfy my curiosity about this topic. Someone here might know more than me about this topic. Please correct me, ask questions, and contribute, but do it nicely. I'm not trying to persuade you of my agenda or convince you to take action. My only hope is that my presentation might cultivate your own curiosities. So my outline. First, I'm going to be talking about the spark to the fire, the Nakba, then the main symbols in Palestinian art, and then finally the big picture. So what led me to this? On the few lucky occasions my family and I got to go to Jerusalem, we had to pass the Qadandia checkpoint. At the checkpoint are large borders separating all Palestinians from their beloved land. Despite the barbed wire, Palestinians changed it into a source of bittersweet hope. What caught my eye are the murals of symbolic images that hold bits and pieces of history covering these walls. From Yasser Arafat to inspiring quotes, these walls had it all. On those few lucky trips, I have admired the murals. I inspected and analyzed each individually as we waited for the traffic to wane. I always felt some kind of patriotic sense whenever I looked at them, although my 7-year-old self didn't understand exactly how far the paint of these murals see. So I decided to feed my curiosity and fully understand the meaning behind each and every stroke of the brush. So the Nakba. The Nakba is the Arabic word for catastrophe, the spark of the catching fire to the catching fire of the resistance. Before the Nakba, Palestine consisted of Muslims, Christians, and a small number of Jews who lived generally peacefully together. After the persecution of Jews in Europe, they decided that Palestine would be safer for them. With World War I came the Balfour Declaration, in which Britain promised Zionist support to build a Jewish state in Palestine. As soon as World War I ended, Britain occupied Palestine, which allowed Jews to immigrate into Palestine easily and buy land. Palestinians revolted against the monstrosity of the Zionist and British occupation for 3 years before Britain dismantled it and limited Jewish immigration. The Jewish were enraged and began bombing both Palestinians and British. The British withdrew from Palestine and left the Zionists all of their weapons and tanks on May 14th of 1948, when things got out of hand. That day, the state of Israel became official. The Zionists began expelling Palestinians from their land during the British occupation. However, the rate of expulsion just increased since its end. 750,000 Palestinians were kicked out of their land and were forced into refugee camps in East Jerusalem, the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, and surrounding Arab countries. Neighboring Arab countries declared war and hoped to free Palestine, but the Zionists had foreign military, financial, and political support which allowed them to overpower the Arab countries. 2023 marked the 75th year of Palestine under occupation, and until the Zionist reign ends, the Nakba lives on. Since the Nakba, Palestinians have done everything in their power to make their voices heard globally, the arts being one of the vocal cords. The arts varied from music like Mohammed Asaf's song Ana Dalmi Palestini to Mahmoud Darwish's heartbreaking poems. Another major art form is the visual art. Palestinians have been using numerous symbols in their art to express their strong opposition to the apartheid being imposed upon them. One of these symbols is the cactus. Since 1948, the cactus has been a symbol of the strength of the Palestinian people to survive and thrive despite the harsh environment. It is also a symbol of patience, because the Arabic word for cactus is sabr, which is another word for patience. One inspiring artist, Ahmed Muhammad Yassin, painted provocative images directly onto cacti. Two popular ones, shown on the slide, are a newborn nursing from the cactus itself out of a bullet and a child cradled in an elderly's arms. Another piece he created shows an image of an old woman screaming. Here are some more examples of Palestinian art by Asim Abu Shakr and Muhammad al-Hawaji that represent the cactus's importance to Palestinians. The second symbol is the key. Now, although thousands of families were forced to immigrate out of their houses, they kept the keys as a symbol that they will someday return to their houses. Keys can be found everywhere in Palestinian art, from walls on the streets to school art galleries, showing that Palestinians' hope is all but wavering. One artist, Ahmed Ahmedad, created the masterpiece shown above. The key signifies the waiting to return. The rosary, or the masbah, represents turning to God, and the cigarette represents the distracted or lost refugee who hasn't surrendered. Here are some more examples of the key being used in Palestinian art. The third symbol is the Yafa orange. Before the Nakba, the Yafa orange was Palestine's largest export. My own great-grandfather, may Allah have mercy on him, owned large fields of orange trees in his home city, Ramllah. The oranges symbolize the wealth and prosperity Palestinians once enjoyed. The bright orange of the citrus fruit and its bursting flavor symbolizes an optimistic future of return. Ismail Shammout painted the Madonna of Oranges, which depicts a young Palestinian mother holding her asleep child in a grove of orange trees. The flourishing, abundant oranges signify prosperity. The mother appears peaceful, so does this painting in general, because Shammout painted this hopeful piece the year he returned to his homeland and lived 50 years after the Nakba. Here are 4 examples of the oranges being used in Palestinian art. The 2 paintings on the left are by the renowned Palestinian artist Salman Mansour. The olive tree. So the olive tree is a symbol of peace and resilience, as the plant sends deep roots into the earth, as if the tree itself refuses to leave its homeland. The olive tree signifies an unfaltering connection between Palestinians and their homeland. It has become such a powerful and renowned symbol that the Zionists have taken the measures to destroy these trees whenever they got the chance to. This not only wrecks a sign of resilience, but also cuts off the livelihood for farmers who depend on the olive tree season to sell oil and olives and live off of that money for the next year. The picture above reveals only one of the hundreds of olive trees brutally killed each and every year. Quiet Morning by Salman Mansour shows a woman with large hands wearing the Palestinian thobe sitting in front of an olive tree wrapped in barbed wire. Several paintings of the Palestinian olive trees depict how Palestinians harvest the olives and embrace the tree. Barbed wire. Now, barbed wire has grown like poison ivy surrounding borders and refugee camps, banning entry for people in exile. No need to explain that the barbed wire is a symbol of oppression. In the resistance art, it is often used around what's supposed to be beautiful images. For example, Abdurrahman Katanani uses corrugated iron, barbed wire, scrap metal, and other materials to create sculptures. The olive tree on the left was made with barbed wire and olive tree wood. On the right, you can see Katanani sitting beside a wave of barbed wire representing the hostile and unforgiving European seaboarders. Other examples of twisted, beautiful images were painted on the walls of Bethlehem by an anonymous artist. These paintings show that Palestinians were born into the occupation's oppression and grow with it. Another renowned symbol is the dove. This bird has become the epitome of symbol of hope and freedom. Banksy, yet another Palestinian artist, painted the armored dove of peace, as shown on the left, on the wall of Bethlehem. The dove is carrying an olive branch, the symbol of peace and resilience, with a target aimed at its chest. The painting is ironic because while the dove tries to accomplish peace, the reality of the situation intervenes with a threat to the dove's life. The second painting by Sasha Haddad is by Sasha Haddad. In her painting, the dove is an angry freedom fighter with a single tear falling from its eye. The hands are cheering the dove on, notably grasping a key and an olive branch. Some popular paintings which the dove stars in are shown on the slide. The illustration on the top right corner by Mahmoud Khalidi shows the embrace between peace and revolution, between love and strength. The painting on the bottom left corner by Nazik Ammar portrays that the goal of the Palestinians is absolute freedom, which leads to peace. This is represented by the dove sitting atop the rifle. The Handola may be one of the most popular mascots in Palestinian culture. In Arabic, the word Handola is the name of a bittersweet desert plant. The political cartoonist Najim Ali created him in 1969 as a profound symbol of defiance. Ali's illustrations were simple and targeted Arab governments, Iran, America, and the Zionists. When the UN suggested a two-state solution, the Handola turned his back to the viewer and clasped his hands behind his back as a way of rejecting foreign solutions to the Palestinian problem. The story of the Handola is that he is a 10-year-old boy, the age of Ali, when he was forced out of his homeland. and he will remain 10 years old until he returns home. Najid Ali once said, I drew him as a child who is not beautiful. His hair is like the hair of the hedgehog who uses his thorns as weapons. Handola is not fat, happy, relaxed, or pampered. He is barefooted like the refugee camp children. His hands are clasped behind his back as a sign of rejection at a time when solutions are presented to us the American way. He was the arrow of the compass, pointing steadily towards Palestine. Unfortunately, An-Naji was assassinated at the age of 51 on August 29th of 1987 by an unidentified gunman. Despite that, his art remains etched in the Arab world heart, as his legacy lives on. Here is only a handful of his work, and he has an entire art gallery in London. The watermelon. It may seem uncanny, but watermelons are major in Palestine. The sweet summer delight has a deeper meaning for Palestinians. In response to the Zionist government ban of the Palestinian flag, Palestinians have found that the watermelon resembles the Palestinian flag's colors. The green and white rind, the red flesh, and the black seeds made this fruit the perfect alternative. Palestinians express their national pride through the watermelon. It is found in artworks to convey the struggle against apartheid. It has even reached to the point where holding a slice of watermelon in the streets became a form of protest. Here are some illustrations that portray the relation of the fruit to Palestine. So what's the big idea? As you have seen, there are numerous figures used in Palestinian art to convey feelings of hope, anger, and nationalism, and more feelings that words can't describe. The cactus, key, orange, olive tree, barbed wire, dove, Handola, and the watermelon are only 8 of the myriad of symbols that have deeper meanings than what appears on the surface. Others include the rifle, the martyr, the horse, the kufiya, the rooster, the stone, Jerusalem, and the woman. Many Palestinians have resorted to art as a form of protest against Zionist occupation. Palestinians' solidarity will not falter and will only continue to live on until Palestine is free from the river to the sea. So here are my references, and thank you for listening.